Happy quarantine. I'm sitting home bored and I thought I'd share a little bit about why I became atheist. In 2012, the Sandy Hook school shooting occurred where I questioned everything I thought I knew about a benevolent, loving, merciful God. When it happened, when I heard about it, I stepped outside. It was later in the evening. It was dark at that point. Living in Louisiana, stepped outside and I talked to the wind, essentially. I asked questions and I was interpreting the wind as a response to it. I realized how crazy or irrational this might seem to other people. I'm outside speaking to the sky and interpreting the blows of wind as some sort of vacant answer. So basically what happened is I went inside, I read the Bible, I started at Genesis. By the end of Genesis, I described myself as an atheist. I thought I don't believe any of this. So it was December 14th of 2012. About a year before I met my now partner online, when I joined the atheist-theist community debates on what is now a vacant wasteland known as Google+. I actually met her on a YouTube comment section, believe it or not, under a Grand Theft Auto 5 online Let's Play. I never really considered myself a very good Christian. I swore horrendous obscenities at my video games when I was upset. I did what would be considered unclean, offensive things in my private time via masturbating to porn. But who has not masturbated? I mean, come on. If you don't masturbate, I'm concerned for you as a person and for your health. I don't go for that No Nut November shit. I digress. After Genesis, I was an atheist, but I continued reading the Bible. The more and more I read into it, the Bible is such... the Christian Bible. That's the only Bible I have read, really. It's so repetitive, and it says the same thing 5 times within one paragraph, just using different words. And there's like New England, there's several versions of the same Christian Bible, all saying the same thing in the same areas, just using different, slightly altered language. That I never really understood. If really there was the legitimate word of God, why would you need so many interpretations of it, so many variations? Didn't he say this? Why translate it more and more into something differently? As I said before, I never really considered myself a good Christian. I always believed that I was definitely going to hell because I thought horrible things in private. I was a very offensive person in general as a kid. I come from a family of Christians. My grandmother on my mother's side is a Baptist. She attended Summer Grove Baptist Church, where previously I went as well. In Shreveport, Louisiana, they converted an old shopping mall into a church. This huge church. I mean, jeez. And when I attended these sermons, again, I felt this sense of repetition, and as a kid, it's just fucking boring to go to church and listen to an old guy stand up there and say the same fucking thing in 100 fucking ways and nail this shit into your head to try to make you believe it. I somehow felt it was important when I was there that, oh, this, he's saying this stuff and, it's true and blah, blah, blah. But the more and more I started looking into actually studying religion, I just believed it less and less. I was a very inquisitive child. When I was young, my grandmother on my mother's side was the authority on these things. I would always ask about, hey, can we talk about God and the devil? Or can we talk about Jesus and Satan? Can we talk about God and the Bible? I think at some point she started getting annoyed by it, but she was more than happy to tell me stories and tales from the Bible using her interpretations, and she was my grandparent, so I took her at her word because she's an older adult. Now look at me, I dismiss the word of my elders almost all the time. Because I'm an adult with my own mind, and when I hear or see things I disagree with, I'm going to state that I actually disagree with them. I'm not controlled by fear anymore, and fear is definitely another element which kept me Christian for a while. I thought I was a bad Christian because I swore at my video games and masturbated in private. So the element of fear is what made me consider that, no matter how bad of a person I really am, as long as I apologize to and accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior on my deathbed, I'll be fine. That mindset where if I actually thought I was a bad person doing immoral things, I could simply just ask for forgiveness and then I would be accepted into heaven. Nowadays, when I go after this mindset, I attack it from the perspective of someone who actually used to have that mindset. I'm a bad person. Well, just ask Jesus to forgive me, and everything will be hunky-fucking-dory. I won't be tortured in lava flames for eternity and stabbed in the butt with a pitchfork. And I can chill in some bliss up in the sky and in some golden fucking city. I was estranged from my father for quite a while. My father is a religious person who would not consider himself religious. I attended Rose Park Baptist Church with my father, even younger than I did when I went to church with my grandmother. Or I think it was around the same time. I don't know. Things kind of fade into one another the further back I go. So even though my father would say he's not religious, previously he used to attend church. I think he thinks because he doesn't go to church anymore then he's not religious. Now people are what they say they are, I guess, if they don't consider themselves religious but still believe in God, in the Christian perspective of God. I consider those people religious. How can you not be religious if you believe in elements of a religion? I'm now even more estranged to my father nowadays. I really refuse to have anything to do with him. I don't need anything to do with him. My father was a character who cheated on virtually every single woman he's been with. He's definitely not a monogamous person. He's definitely not a kind, safe person either. He was abusive to other people's kids, and he sold meth, and people who do meth, I don't believe they're bad people. People do all kinds of things without actually being horrible people. My father sold it to people, got people hooked on it, and he broke up marriages, and he abused other people's kids. My father never hit me, of course, oh no. But one of my earliest memories of my father is him holding my brother up by his arm, my brother on my mother's side, so essentially my half-brother, holding him up by his arm and beating him across his back with a hard rubber lizard that I later played with in life. My father would like to believe that as long as he asks for Jesus' forgiveness on his deathbed, he'll go to heaven and everything will be fine. And after I moved up to Minnesota in 2014, I've been here ever since. He saw a Facebook post that my girlfriend made while the computer was signed into my account on Facebook. She shared something about how cool she thought the satanic church was. They're basically atheists who like to mock and prod Christians by calling themselves Satanists, but they're really just atheists who sell paraphernalia. So I don't agree with everything the satanic church really has said, but or done, but it was funny. But at the time, after I became a militant atheist, it was rather just kind of funny to trigger religious Christian people. My father saw that, and I had a text conversation with him back and forth on Facebook where he thought that it was because I shared it. I said, no, actually, my girlfriend shared it. But even so, I don't believe in God and the devil and stuff. I'm not really a Satanist. And I explained to him that this is not supposed to be a Christian nation. Even though a majority of Americans are, by and large, would consider themselves Christian or spiritual to some degree. Even if they don't classify themselves as Christian, they're still spiritual. Atheists and agnostics are a minority. The reason I use my father as an example is because it's another using a person who uses that mindset where no matter how horrible I am, the horrible things I do, I can just ask Jesus for forgiveness as long as I do it before I die. Then I won't be tortured for being such a horrible person for eternity. I never did anything half as bad as the shit my father got up to. But I still didn't think I was a good Christian. The more and more I learned about Christian as a whole and politics, when I got into politics, I was stone cold. Nope, don't believe any of it. It's all bullshit. It's all a control mechanism. I've seen so many horrible things committed by our government that has school kids pledge allegiance to a flag. Our foreign policy is terrible. We murder children en masse daily in our wars on terror. I had to say the Pledge of Allegiance as a kid in school. And had to put my right hand over my heart, and we had to recite under God. I went to Summer Grove Elementary School where this was a mandatory thing we did every single morning in class. I don't know if we stopped doing it. I don't remember when we stopped. I especially remember doing it in kindergarten. I especially remember doing it in first grade. I think we did it in second grade. I don't remember if we did it in the elementary school where I switched to when I moved to Keithville. It was Summerfield, not Summer Grove Elementary at that point. Then when we moved again, I moved back to Summer Grove Elementary, and I finished 4th and 5th grade there. But throughout a majority of this time, I think kids were having to say the Pledge of Allegiance. They had to use their right hand to put over their heart. I remember one kid actually getting in trouble and basically berated by the school teacher because he used his left hand to put over his heart instead of his right hand. This arbitrary bullshit that you have to abide. The kid was sent to the principal's office, I think. It was fucking... I was just like... I didn't really say anything much at that point because I think I was still considering myself Christian. I didn't go to high school at all, really. And the more I got into politics, the more I started realizing how much of a control mechanism and how much Christianity as a whole, a religion, is actually built on lies. I couldn't even talk to my mother about it, a person who's supposed to be accepting of you, I can't really discuss my theories and beliefs of faith with her. The only person in my family I could feel safe talking to about being an atheist and having faith was my aunt. And I think one of the only reasons I could trust talking to my aunt on my mother's side, my immediate family, was because she was the only scientist in our immediate family. She would claim that she has faith. She would consider that she believes. But she wasn't judgmental about it like so many other people would be. My grandmother, who was in her 90s, I especially can't say anything about my belief in God because you cannot be in a conversation with her for more than 10 minutes, especially if you bring up politics in minute 5 or 2 of that at all. She will bring up God. God will never not be brought up in a conversation with her at some point. So by and large, I consider myself a secular atheist. I don't even call myself agnostic because when it comes to the belief in all human religions, I consider myself ironclad an atheist. I'm not even agnostic. I'm not agnostic. I don't believe in any of the gods, and I'm willing to say that I know none of the human theorized gods exist in the universe. None of them created the universe. I don't believe in that. I love studying space and the universe and the wondrous mysteries of the nature of outer space as a whole. And I find the more we discover about the universe and outer space and all these things, the less credence of a perfect designer exists. Space is full of like chaos and earth-shattering destruction. We can see echoes of the Big Bang the further out we stare. Using technology, we can see things that we would never have seen. A lot of religion is derived from humans' cosmology. How we studied the stars and the patterns of the seasons and the changing, the moon, the sun, these things. All the things that we study outside of Earth, the sun, the moon, our planets, the stars, all these religions, all these human religions have roots in cosmology. They are derived from ancient cultures that studied the sky. I find these things far more interesting and far more valuable to the knowledge of our species than old fucking 2,000-year-old books that say some old dude talked to God in the form of a burning bush. Unless that's a euphemism for smoking pot, which I can get behind, but just say that the guy inhaled a fucking, he burned some weed and he inhaled it and then he talked to God. But no, God appeared to Moses in the form of a burning bush. Come on, dude. Any religion, any human religion that claims to know the origins and understand and comprehend the origins of the universe, explaining it via an intelligent designer, is full of it. I'm not agnostic. I know that these things are not founded in reality. I don't even consider myself agnostic on that view. Where I would consider myself agnostic would be, do I know whether or not aliens exist? Do I know whether or not another species from another planet has ever visited Earth at any point in time? I would consider myself agnostic on that. I don't know. I don't claim to know. I don't believe the conspiracy theories of the Illuminati where there are reptiles controlling the fucking government. Did you see that one blurry fucking low definition video where Obama like blinked a little bit and it's like the under eyelid was coming out or something, or he was morphing, or his teeth look kind of if you zoom in on this blurry ass fucking video, you can clearly see that his reptile teeth are showing, dude. I don't believe in that fucking garbage. Do I believe in aliens? Yes. Do I know whether or not aliens have had a hand in anything that has happened here on Earth at any point in time? No, I don't. I don't claim to know. I admit to being agnostic on that. I am an atheist in all human religions. I do not believe in any god, any creator. I don't adhere to any religion anywhere that has sourced from anywhere on Earth. I don't follow in accordance with any of them. That's just kind of my spiel on it. Just trying to keep busy while being quarantined from a plague that might very well wipe out, 1/4 of the human population on Earth. That might be pretty cool. Maybe it'll wipe out half. Maybe it'll wipe out a third. Who knows? If you truly believe in God, yeah, I have to admit, the guy's kind of an asshole. That's all I really have to say on the subject. Stay safe, stay healthy out there.